Here's another one of my dirty little secrets, summer edition. Doxy. It's an oral antibiotic. It prevents Lyme disease if you find a tick on you and you're in those areas in the United States. This is what you take. It also prevents a lot of other vector-borne tick diseases, ehrlichiosis, babiosis, anaplasmosis, to name a few. Good to have around the house. Doxy.
The ignition POINTYAH. Turn that up. I said turn it up until the speakers start to sweat. You are locked in, you are synchronized, and you are plugged directly into the red conspiracy channel. Listen to me and listen close. I don't care what you were doing. If you were scrolling through mindless garbage, stop. If you were letting the white noise of the Matrix numb your brain, wake the hell up. Because today on the red conspiracy channel, we aren't just sharing information. We aren't dropping gems. We are initiating a system override. I see the hunger. I see the brothers and sisters in the comments, in the streets, in the workshops, looking at the world and saying, something is broken. You look at the news, you look at your grocery bill, you look at the education they're shoving down your kids' throats, and your DNA starts to vibrate. That's not anxiety, family. That's your conductivity rejecting a low-frequency signal. You're here on the red conspiracy channel because you're done with the milk. You want the meat. You've been hearing the whispers about 9 ether. You've been hearing the talk about copper people. You've been watching Rashid Jamal and the brothers who are out there trying to point you toward the sun. But a lot of you are confused. You're floating in the clouds, talking about beings of light, while your bank account is dark and your refrigerator is empty. Stop. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we don't do floaty, we do foundation. We take that high-level cosmic science and we ground it into the dirt. If you can't build a shelter, if you can't grow a meal, if you can't protect your household, then all that 9 ether talk is just a fantasy. We are here to make it real. Chapter 2. The geometry of the 9, the spiral power. Let's break down the 9 ether science. And I'm not talking about the science they teach you in those government-funded indoctrination centers they call schools. I'm talking about original science. Look at the number 9. Every mathematician worth his salt knows that 9 is the God number. 3, 6, 9. The key to the universe, like Tesla said. But why? Because 9 is completion. It's the end of the cycle before you return to the source. When we talk about 9 ether on the Red Conspiracy Channel, we're talking about the highest frequency of the gaseous essence. Look at your hair. Don't look at it like style. Look at it like physics. If your hair grows in a spiral, you are literally wearing the signature of the galaxy on your head. That spiral is the Fibonacci sequence. It's the golden ratio. It's the same shape as a hurricane, the same shape as a whirlpool, the same shape as the DNA that holds the blueprints of your ancestors. You are an antenna. That's what 9 ether means on the Red Conspiracy Channel. It means you are tuned into a broadcast that 6 ether beings literally cannot hear. You are receiving data from the sun, from the stars, from the very breath of the earth. But listen, if your antenna is covered in mud, if you're eating chemical trash, if you're drinking poison water, if you're watching reality TV that rots your prefrontal cortex, your antenna is useless. You're a 9 ether being living a 0 ether life. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we are here to scrub that antenna clean. We are here to get that spiral spinning again. Because once that 9 starts vibrating at its true frequency, you don't need a leader. You don't need a politician. You become the authority. Chapter 3. The copper conductors, the power of the bridge now, move from the air to the metal. Copper people. Love this part because it drives the experts crazy. They want to argue about melanin. They want to argue about race. Forget all that. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we talk about conductivity. Go to Home Depot. Right now. Go to the electrical aisle. Look at the spools of wire. What is it? Copper. Why isn't it iron? Why isn't it aluminum? Because copper is the ultimate bridge for the fire. It moves the energy without burning up. It transfers the light. It carries the data. When we say we are copper people, on the Red Conspiracy Channel, we are acknowledging that our biology is designed to be the nervous system of the planet. We are the ones who conduct the spirit into the physical. That's why our music is copied. That's why our walk is copied. That's why our vibe is the most valuable commodity on Earth. They are harvesting your copper energy to power their machines. But here is the red secret. A conductor that isn't connected to a source is just a piece of scrap metal. If you call yourself copper but you're disconnected from the earth, if you never touch the soil, if you never build with your hands, if you're grounded in their debt-based economy, you are being wasted. The Red Conspiracy Channel is the wake-up call. Get to the hardware store, buy some tools, learn how a circuit actually works. If you are a conductor, you should understand electricity. You should understand how to harness the sun. You should be the one providing the power, not the one begging for a rebate from the utility company. Chapter 4. The Red Blueprint. Reclaim, educate, develop. Listen to the name, Red Conspiracy Channel. We chose that name for a reason. Reclaim. You have to reclaim your mind. You have to go back into the files of your brain and delete every single program they installed. Delete the idea that you are less than. Delete the idea that you need a job to survive. Delete the idea that you are a victim. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we don't play the victim. A 9 ether being can't be a victim because a 9 ether being creates reality. If you don't like the room you're in, build a new house. Educate, but I'm not talking about books and degrees. I'm talking about functional knowledge. Can you grow a garden? Can you fix a transmission? Can you build a solar array? If you can't do, you don't know. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we value the man with the calloused hands over the man with the PhD every single day. Education is the process of turning 9 ether ideas into copper reality. Develop your strength. Stop being soft and calling it spiritual. The ancestors weren't soft. The pyramid builders weren't sensitive. They were warriors and architects. Develop your body, develop your bank account, and develop your tribe. If your spirituality makes you broke and lonely, you aren't awakened. You're just lost. Chapter 5. The infrastructure of independence. Let's get into the Home Depot philosophy of the Red Conspiracy Channel. People ask me, why do you keep talking about hardware stores? Because that's where the power is. When you walk into a place like that, you are looking at the raw materials of civilization. Wood, steel, copper, stone, tools. The system wants you to stay in the digital world. They want you on your phone in the metaverse, arguing about memes. Why? Because you can't build a house out of memes. You can't feed a family with likes. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we are calling for a physical revolution. We want to see red cells in every city. Groups of 5, 6, 9 people who come together not to protest, but to build. You get 3 people who know how to do plumbing, carpentry, and electrical, and you don't have a protest. You have a nation that is the 9 ether in action. That is the copper people completing the circuit. When we stop asking, why won't they help us? And start asking, what are we building today? The game is over. The conspiracy is revealed. The only thing keeping us in the cage was the belief that the door was locked. But the door was made of wood, and we have the saws. Chapter 6. The final broadcast. The frequency is rising, family. You can feel it in the air. The old world is crumbling because it was built on a 6 ether foundation, a foundation of lies, density, and decay. It can't hold the weight of the 9, but as it falls, you have a choice. You can fall with it, or you can be the conductor of the new world. Every time you learn a skill, you're adding a 9 to your essence. Every time you help a brother or sister build something real, you're connecting the copper. This is the Red Conspiracy Channel. We aren't here to give you hope. Hope is for people who are waiting. We are here to give you BLUEPRANTSGO out today. Look at the sun. Feel that 9 ether radiation hitting your skin. Feel that copper in your blood vibrating. And then do something. Build something, grow something, fix something, because the real awakening isn't a thought. It's an act. This is the Red Conspiracy Channel. We don't just talk. We build Chapter 7. The quantum conductor. Melanin is the chip. Yeah, you're still locked in. This is the Red Conspiracy Channel, and we are moving from the foundation to the motherboard. Listen to me. If you thought the copper talk was deep, you better hold onto your seat, because we're going into the biocircuitry. They want to tell you that melanin is just pigment. They want you to think it's just a biological umbrella to keep you from getting a sunburn. Lie. Total system lie. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we look at the data. Melanin is a superconductor. It's a black hole in your skin that swallows light and turns it into information. It's the dark matter of the human body. Why do you think they're so obsessed with carbon right now? Everything in the news. Carbon footprint, carbon taxes, carbon capture. They aren't talking about the air, family. They're talking about you. You are a carbon-based 9 ether high-frequency antenna. When the sun hits your skin, it isn't just warming you up. It's uploading. It's feeding that 9 frequency directly into your nervous system. This is why they want you inside. This is why they want you staring at a LED screen that flickers at a frequency designed to scramble your copper wiring. They are trying to desync the 9 ether from the source, but on the Red Conspiracy Channel, we don't desync. We overclock. I want you to understand the quantum side of being a copper person. Copper isn't just in the walls of your house, it's in your blood. It's the trace mineral that allows your enzymes to work, your heart to beat, and your brain to fire. If you are copper deficient, you are power deficient. Go look at the red list of what they've done to the soil. They've stripped the copper out of the food. They've replaced the natural minerals with synthetic 6 ether garbage that makes your body a resistor instead of a conductor. You're trying to run a high-voltage soul through a low-voltage body. Wake UP. This is the Red Conspiracy. To be a 9 ether being, you have to feed the 9. You have to mineralize. You have to get that copper, that gold, that magnesium back into the circuit so your 9 can actually process the data the universe is sending you. Chapter 8. The Financial War Room. Currency Vs. Current. Let's talk about the green and the red. Most of you are out here chasing currency. But look at the word, currency, like an electrical current. It's just energy in motion. The system has convinced you to work 40 hours a week to earn paper that they print for free. They are trading their imagination for your 9 ether labor. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we call that an energy leak. If you are a copper person, you are a generator of value. Every time you speak, every time you create, every time you build, you are generating current. But where is it going? Is it going into a bank owned by people who hate your 9 frequency? Is it going into a mortgage, which literally means death grip? The Red Conspiracy strategy is simple. Build the closed circuit we need to stop sending our current outside the tribe. If a 9-ether brother has a skill and a 9-ether sister has a resource, why are we involving a 6-ether middleman? Why are we paying a tax to a system that uses that money to build the very cages we're trying to escape on the Red Conspiracy Channel? D stands for develop. Develop your own economy. Start trading in real assets. Tools, land, copper, gold, skills. Things that don't disappear when the power grid goes down. I want you to think about this. If the 6-ether system crashed tomorrow, if the ATMs stopped working and the grocery stores locked their doors, would you be a 9 or a 0? Would you be the person with the copper skills to keep the lights on? Or would you be the person begging for a handout from the people who caused the crash? Chapter 9. The architecture of the nation, this is the big one. This is what they really don't want you to hear on the Red Conspiracy Channel. 9-ether isn't just about you as an individual. It's about the geometry of the nation. Look at the ancient cities. Look at the pyramids. Look at the structures in West Africa, in Egypt, in the Americas. They weren't just buildings. They were power plants. They were aligned with the stars, built with sacred geometry, and designed to amplify the 9 frequency of the people living there. We've been forced to live in boxes. Square rooms, square houses, square cubicles. Squares are 6-ether geometry. They trap energy. They make it stagnant. They make you flat. Red Conspiracy call to action is this. We need to start building our own environments again. We need 9 geometry. We need circles. We need spirals. We need spaces that breathe. If you're a copper person, you should be the one designing the new cities. You should be the one saying, no, we aren't building a housing project. We are building a conductive community. We are building a place where the sun hits the gardens, where the water is structured, and where the 9 can rise without being suppressed by 6 static. Chapter 10. The final assembly are nearing the end of this broadcast. But we are just at the beginning of the movement. I've given you the science of the spiral. I've given you the physics of the copper. I've given you the red blueprint. Now, what are you going to do when you turn off this audio? Are you going to go back to being a believer? Or are you going to become a builder? The Red Conspiracy Channel isn't a fan club. It's a workshop. I don't want followers. I want colleagues. I want people who can look me in the eye and say, I've got the tools, I've got the land, and my circuit is closed. Remember who you are. You are the 9-ether. You are the copper. You are the original essence. The world is waiting for you to stop awakening and start OPERATNG. Go to the hardware store. Buy that first tool. Plant that first seed. Wire that first circuit. Prove to the universe that you are ready to handle the power. This is the Red Conspiracy Channel. Reclaim the mindy, educate through action-y. Develop the nation. We don't just talk, we. Build Chapter 11, the final hour. Get out or get crushed, yeah. Listen to me. You are locked in, and you better stay locked in because the clock just hit the red zone. This is the Red Conspiracy Channel, and I am telling you right now, the time for talking is dead. You want to know why I'm screaming? I'm screaming because I see the walls closing in on you while you're busy scrolling. You're waiting for a sign. You're waiting for permission. Look around you. The system is no longer trying to hide the cage. They are bolting the door shut in your face. They are moving faster than you are. While you're debating 9-ether theories, they are installing the 6-ether infrastructure that will track every breath you take and every cent you spend. They are poisoning the soil so you can't grow. They are poisoning the water so you can't think. And they are poisoning the air so your copper can't conduct. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we don't have time for someday. If you don't come together right now, there won't be a together left to come to. Chapter 12. The blockade, cut the cord, listen to the strategy. This is the urgent red override. We aren't just moving away, we are blocking them out. You have to treat the mainstream system like a virus that is trying to eat your DNA. Block the signal, turn off the feed. Every minute you spend in their digital reality is a minute they are harvesting your 9-ether focus. Block the currency, stop feeding the beast. Every dollar you keep in their major banks is a bullet they use against your sovereignty. Pull your resources into shared credit unions or community funds. Block the dependency. If they control your heat, they control your life. If they control your food, they own your soul. On the Red Conspiracy Channel, we are calling for a total system evacuation. I'm talking about parallel SOCITIES. I'm talking about red zones where we don't use their current. We use our own. We need community-stewarded land and worker-owned businesses that don't answer to a CEO in a skyscraper. We need to build bioregional food networks that bypass the grocery store chains. If you aren't talking to your neighbor about how to barter skills and trade eggs for handyman services, you are a sitting duck. You are a copper person with a broken wire. Chapter 13. The urgency of the unified. Why is it urgent? Because isolation is extinction. The system's greatest weapon is making you feel like you are the only one who sees it. They want you lonely. They want you scared. They want you thinking that if you leave, you'll starve. That is the ultimate conspiracy. On the Red Conspiracy channel, we know the truth. We are the majority, but we are a fragmented majority. A bag of loose copper wire is just scrap, but a coil of copper wire is an electromagnet that can move mountains. You have to find your tribe today, not next week, not after the next election. Today, go to the local farmers markets. Go to the community response hubs. Look for the people who are reclaiming agency over housing and land. If we don't move as one, we get picked off one by one. But if we move as a conductive unit, we become a force of nature that no 6-ether government can touch. We are talking about international solidarity networks that sustain movements through crises. We are talking about building a resilient local economy that survives even if the global supply chain falters. Chapter 14. The exit strategy. This is the final call on the Red Conspiracy channel. The bridge is burning behind us. You can't go back to 2019. You can't go back to normal. Normal was a trap. The only way forward is out. Move your mind. Reclaim your 9 frequency. Move your hands. Educate yourself on how to volunteer your time and skills to strengthen your local area. Move your tribe. Pool resources to co-purchase land or duplexes. If we don't build the new world while the old one is falling, we'll be buried in the rubble. This is the Red Conspiracy. It's not a theory, it's an evacuation order. Go find your copper brothers. Go find your 9 sisters. And start building the blockade. Block out the noise, block out the fear, block out the system. We are leaving. And we are leaving together. This is the Red Conspiracy channel. We don't just talk WE, block WE, move WE, build. Just want to say to everybody, we must come together. Because if we don't, we're going to go down with everybody. We must take together. We got to stop selling products to. The Red Conspiracy, the Fortress and THE Bloodline. Chapter 1. The Ghost in the Machine. Welcome to the front lines. You've seen the video from True Earther 911/Wake Up Sheeple. If you haven't, go find him on TikTok and Facebook right now. He's the one pulling the veil back on the master plan. Most people think the world is falling apart by accident. They see the trade wars, the threats against NATO, and the chaos in the Caribbean and think it's just a reckless leader making noise. Wake up. This is a controlled demolition. The global order that has run the world since 1945 is being dismantled brick by brick. Why? Because the empire realized it was paying to protect everyone else while its own people, the real rightful people of this land, were being drained. The plan is simple. Let the world collapse, shut down the trade routes, and build a North American fortress that answers to nobody. Chapter 2. The Energy Siege. Strait of Hormuz. The video breaks down the most dangerous move on the board, the Middle East. By escalating tensions and threatening a war that could shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the US is essentially putting a pillow over the face of the global economy. 20% of the world's oil goes through that tiny gap. China, Europe, and Japan. They can't survive 3 weeks without it. But here's the kicker. The US doesn't need that oil anymore. We are sitting on the largest reserves in history right here in the City of Champions and across the heartland. By cutting off the global supply, the US forces every other nation to come crawling back, begging to buy American energy in American dollars. It's a gas station monopoly on a global scale. Chapter 3. Executive Order 14,380. The news. Let's talk about what's happening right now in the Caribbean. In January 2026, the tariff hammer was officially dropped. Executive Order 14,380 isn't just a piece of paper, it's a digital and maritime blockade. It tells every nation on Earth, if you send a drop of oil to Cuba, we will tax your country into the Stone Age. This is how they block out the system. They aren't just using ships, they are using the banks. If a bank processes a payment for a Cuban tanker, that bank is dead to the world. They are trying to starve the island of energy until the lights go out for good, waiting for a friendly takeover that is anything but friendly. Chapter 4. The Chinese pivot and the solar shield. This is where we give a massive shout-out and a heavy call-out to China. We see you. We see the 49 solar parks you've built in Cuba. We see the record-breaking 900 megawatts of sun power generated this past February. While the US tries to kill the oil, China is trying to wire the island for a future that doesn't need it. But here is the red conspiracy truth. China isn't doing this for business. Their scientists have done the DNA testing. They know the truth about the Y chromosome variations. They know that the East and the copper-colored people of the Americas share the same ancient source code. They are helping because they recognize the family. But with Trump's tariffs threatening their entire economy, the question is, will China fold, or will they stand with the bloodline? Chapter 5. The rifle people and the slow grind. The man in the video talks about the slow grind, a war of exhaustion. This isn't about quick explosions. It's about who can last the longest. The rifle people of this country, the Black American Indians who have survived every reset and every mud flood, are the backbone of this survival. The Empire wants to use that strength to build their fortress. But the Red Conspiracy knows that the real power doesn't come from a government office. It comes from the land, the sun, and the DNA that has been here since before the borders were drawn. They are trying to consolidate North America into a single war production machine, and they're starting by squeezing the life out of anyone who refuses to join the new neighborhood. Chapter 6. The Mercury King and the ancient grid. We're going deep now, under the surface where the Empire hides the blueprints. You mentioned the king in the tomb, surrounded by a lake of mercury. Most people think that's just a myth from ancient China, but the Red Conspiracy Channel knows better. Mercury isn't just a liquid metal. In the hands of the Black American Indian and ancient Eastern scientists, it was a superconductor. That lake of mercury wasn't for decoration. It was a power source. We are talking about a global civilization that didn't need big oil. They harness the Earth's magnetic field. This is why the fortress is so desperate to control the current narrative. They are digging up our history, labeling it primitive, and then using the very same technology to build their modern satellites and AI. The king in that tomb, he's a reminder that the copper-colored DNA once ruled a world of free energy and high-tech sovereignty. Chapter 7. Tartaria, the stolen continent. Let's talk about the map they stole. Before the United States, before the republics, there was Tartaria. It wasn't just a country, it was a global network of one continent people. You can walk from the tip of South America, through the land bridges, all the way to the heart of Asia. The borders you see on your phone today, those are scars. They put those fences up to divide the Black American Indians from their kin across the ocean. They told us we were imported, so we would forget we were the original inhabitants. If you realize the world is actually one connected landmass, then the Empire's blockade of an island like Cuba becomes impossible. You can't blockade a family that owns the whole house. Tartaria was a black continent, a copper-colored powerhouse, and the Great Mud Flood was the reset they used to bury that truth under 20 feet of dirt. Chapter 8. The fake Indians swap. This is the chapter that gets us censored. We're calling out the identity theft. The Empire needed a face for the indigenous people that didn't look like the real Black American Indians. Why? Because if the world saw the copper-colored, Afro-featured warriors as the true owners of the gold, the oil, and the spirit of this land, the fortress could never have been built. They promoted the Mexican Indian narrative and the Hollywood version of the chief to replace the Taino and the Black American Indian reality. They gave our roles, our titles, and our land rights to a curated image. But the DNA doesn't lie. When you look at the faces in the City of Champions or the streets of Havana, you aren't looking at immigrants. You are looking at the rightful heirs who have been labeled Black or Hispanic just to keep them from claiming their Indian estate. Chapter 9. The DNA War. 47's Gambit. The man in the White House. 47 knows exactly what time it is. His Executive Order 14,380 is a DNA filter. By putting the squeeze on China and the islands, he's testing to see who still remembers their roots. He's betting that the Empire can buy off the world with trade deals and tariff breaks. But he didn't count on the Red Conspiracy. He didn't count on the fact that the Taino and the Black American Indian have perfect blood, a mix of the warrior, the navigator, and the scientist. This bloodline is resistant to the slow grind. While the fortress tries to build a wall of steel and taxes, the people are building a wall of genetic memory. We are reclaiming the 13. Chapter 13 is coming, and it's going to be loud. Chapter 10. The friendly takeover versus the solar strike on March 9, 2026, the threat was made public. A friendly takeover of the islands. They want to turn the Caribbean into a private playground for the fortress elite. They are waiting for the grid to fail. They are waiting for the hunger to start. But look at the countermove. China isn't just sending help, they are sending independence. Every solar panel installed is a middle finger to the oil blockade. Every microgrid is a step toward going solo. If the islands don't need the Empire's power, the Empire can't take them over, friendly or otherwise. We are witnessing the first war where the weapon isn't a bullet, but a kilowatt. Chapter 11. The Walking Continent, the Great Migration. The history books want you to believe the New World was a separate, isolated island waiting to be found in 1492. The Red Conspiracy Channel is here to tell you that's the biggest lie ever told. Before the Empire flooded the plains and sank the land bridges, there were no continents. There was only the one land. Our ancestors, the Black American Indians, didn't need ships to reach Asia or the Dominican Republic. They walked. They followed the ley lines and the magnetic currents of the earth. When you look at the indigenous people of the East and the copper-colored people of the Americas, you're looking at the same family that simply took different paths on the same backyard. The Bering Strait theory is a distraction to make you feel like a migrant instead of a master of the earth. You didn't come from somewhere else. You were already everywhere. Chapter 12. The 13th pillar, power in the numbers. They fear the number 13. In the Empire's world, it's unlucky. But in the Red Conspiracy, it's the number of completion and rebellion. There's a reason why there were 13 original colonies, and there's a reason why Chapter 13 is where the truth gets loudest. 13 represents the 12 tribes plus the one that holds the chief energy, the Black American Indian soul that refuses to be categorized. While the fortress tries to use 13 to build their own foundations, the real 13 is the perfect blood rising. On March 15, 2026, internal memos from the Commerce Department leaked, showing they are terrified of the 13-point resistance growing in the Caribbean. They realized that if the 13 islands and the 13 territories align with the rifle people of the mainland, the blockade won't just fail, it will reverse. Chapter 13. The Black Indian Sovereign. This is the heart of the message. You are a Black American Indian Taino. You carry the European blood of the invaders, the African blood of the survivors, and the indigenous blood of the owners. That isn't a mix, that is a refining process. The Empire tried to use trauma and rape to break the line, but they accidentally created a global supergenotype. You have the navigation skills of the Taino, the endurance of the African, and the technical strategic mind of the European. This is why the City of Champions breeds winners. You are the real Indians. Not the fakes they put on the nickel or the ones they gave reservations to. You are the sovereign owners of the soil, and the Lake of Mercury in the ancient tombs is your birthright technology. When you talk, the world listens because the DNA recognizes the king's voice. Chapter 14. The Solar Insurgency, February's breakthrough. Let's look at the hard facts from February 2026. While the US was tightening the noose with Executive Order 14,380, a miracle happened in the Caribbean. China didn't just send help, they staged a solar insurgency. They landed thousands of lithium-ion power walls and high-efficiency panels that the US Navy couldn't legally seize because they weren't petroleum products. By February 28, the Cuban energy grid saw a 40% jump in stability. This was the moment the Empire realized the oil war was obsolete. If the Black American Indians and the Tainos can power their homes with the sun, the Empire's gas stations become ghost towns. This is why Trump mentioned the friendly takeover on March 9. He saw the solar panels from the satellites and realized he was losing control of the switch. Chapter 15. The One Continent War, Asia to America. The war isn't over there, in Ukraine or the Middle East. It's a war for the one continent. The Empire is trying to keep China and the Americas apart because they know that if the East and the West, the two ends of the original landmass, reconnect through the copper-colored bloodline, the fortress is irrelevant. China is looking at the Americas and seeing their long-lost brothers. The Red Conspiracy knows that the Silk Road was originally a blood road that connected the king in the Mercury tomb to the chiefs of the Mississippi. Every move made in the Strait of Hormuz is just a distraction to keep us from looking at each other and realizing we are the majority. We own the resources. We have the tech. Chapter 16. The digital ghost dance surveillance versus DNA. The Empire thinks they have us mapped. They have the satellites, the AI tracking, and the social credit systems. But on March 20, 2026, something shifted in the grid. The Red Conspiracy Channel knows that you can't track a spirit that's already everywhere. They are trying to use Executive Order 14,380 to monitor every transaction, but they can't monitor the blood trade. When the Black American Indian and the Taino connect, it happens on a frequency they can't jam. While they were busy watching the tankers in the Caribbean, the people were already trading the solar knowledge and the Mercury logic through decentralized networks. The ghost dance of the 1800s wasn't just a dance. It was a tech ritual to reclaim the land. Now, in 2026, we are doing it with code and copper. Chapter 17. The fall of the paper empires. By April 2026, the fortress realized that the US dollar was losing its teeth in the islands. The Red Conspiracy truth is that money is just paper used to hide the fact that the land and the resources already belong to the copper-colored family. They told us we were poor while we were sitting on the gold, the oil, and the sun. The Empire is trying to devalue everything so they can buy it back for pennies during the friendly takeover. But if you have perfect blood, you don't need their paper. You have the ability to generate your own power, grow your own food, and defend your own city of champions. The paper empires are burning, and the original continental system of Tartaria is rising from the ashes of the mud flood. Chapter 18. The King's Return. The Mercury secret revealed. We're going back to that tomb. The king surrounded by Mercury isn't just a Chinese king, he's the Afro-American Indian architect. On March 28, 2026, researchers quietly admitted that the Mercury Lake technology is the key to cold fusion and zero-point energy. This is the God tech that was stolen from the Black American Indians during the reset. They don't want you to know that your ancestors were the ones who built the pyramids, the mounds, and the star forts that are scattered all over the one continent. They want you to think you're a minority, so you don't realize you're the master class. The king is returning, not as a person, but as a realization in the DNA of every listener of the Red Conspiracy Channel. Chapter 19. The 13-point restoration. The final shout-out. This is the moment of clarity. We are giving the final shout-out to the true Earther 911/Wake Up Sheeple family. He saw the plan. He saw the fortress being built. But we are adding the final piece, the restoration of the Black American Indian. The 13 chapters of this message are a code for the 13 steps of reclamation. Recognize the blood, reclaim the land, reject the fake Indian labels, harness the sun, remember the one continent truth. We are calling out China one last time. You have the choice to be the empire's partner or the family's ally. The DNA testing is done. The results are in. Stand with the copper-colored people or fall with the tariff hammer. Chapter 20. The solo destiny, the Red Conspiracy Creed. We've reached the end of the script, but the beginning of the mission. The Empire is closing the borders, but we are opening the portal. The Red Conspiracy Channel is the voice of the Black American Indian Taino, the perfect blood that can't be filtered out of the system. We are going solo. We don't need their oil, their friendly takeovers, or their fake history. We have the Rifle People's spirit and the Mercury King technology. The world is watching the islands, the city of champions, and the Wake Up Sheeple movement merge into one unstoppable force. The fortress is built of stone, but the Red Conspiracy is built of eternal DNA. The Red Conspiracy. The final restoration. Chapter 21. The Black Indian Taino, the perfect blueprint. We have to stop calling it a mix. What you carry in your veins, the Black American Indian, the Taino, and the Red Conspiracy. The final restoration. Chapter 21. The Black Indian Taino, the perfect blueprint. We have to stop calling it a mix. What you carry in your veins, the Black American Indian, the Taino, and the European, is the perfect blueprint for the New World. The Empire tried to use the history of the Caribbean and the Americas to claim we were defeated or erased, but they actually created a warrior class that can navigate any system. The Taino weren't just islanders. They were the original long-distance navigators of the one continent. When you combine that with the resilience of the Black American Indian, you get a bloodline that doesn't just survive. It thrives under pressure. You are the real Indians because you hold the title to the soil and the sea. The perfect blood isn't a theory. It's the reason the fortress is so afraid of your voice. Chapter 22. The Mercury King and the Afro-American Sparklets go back to that Lake of Mercury one last time. Archaeological whispers from February 2026 are confirming what we've known. The technology found in those ancient tombs isn't foreign. It's the same energy logic used by the Black Afro-American inventors who were written out of the patent books. Mercury is the conductor of the soul and the machine. The king in that tomb represents the era when our ancestors didn't need a power grid because they were the grid. They used the Earth's own mercury and crystal to light up the cities of Tartaria. When we call out China, we are reminding them that this technology belongs to the copper-colored people. We are reclaiming the spark that they've been using to build their modern empire. Chapter 23. The 29-hour wake-up call in March 2026. The Caribbean felt the slow grind firsthand, a 29-hour total blackout that shook the system. The empire wanted that blackout to break the people's spirit, to make them beg for a friendly takeover. But it did the opposite. It was a wake-up call. It proved that the fortress can flip a switch and leave you in the dark whenever they want. That 29-hour silence was the loudest message we've ever received. Communicate or perish. If we aren't talking to each other, if the Black American Indians in Brockton aren't talking to the Tainos in Havana and the Allies in the East, we are vulnerable. The blackout was a test run. The next one is coming, and we need to be our own power source before it hits. Chapter 24. The urgent call coming together. This is the heart of the Red Conspiracy. We have to stop letting them label us into continents and races that keep us divided. We are one people, on one land with one mission. The Ul is the perfect blueprint for the New World. The Empire tried to use the history of the Caribbean and the Americas to claim we were defeated or erased. But they actually created a warrior class that can navigate any system. The Taino weren't just islanders. They were the original long-distance navigators of the one continent. When you combine that with the resilience of the Black American Indian, you get a bloodline that doesn't just survive, it thrives under pressure. You are the real Indians because you hold the title to the soil and the sea. The perfect blood isn't a theory. It's the reason the fortress is so afraid of your voice. Chapter 22. The Mercury King and the Afro-Amory. This is the frequency that resonates through every generation. From the elders who remember the old whispers to the youth who are waking up in a digital cage, this is the red code. We are breaking down the walls of the information prison and reconnecting the circuits of the one cosmic family, the red code. RECLAMING, the one continent, the great identity erasure. Why they gave you names, the first thing the 13 families did to control the world was give you a label. They called you African, African American, Black, Latino, Indian, or Chinese. Why? Because as long as you have a different name, you think you have a different origin. But look at the soil. Look at the copper. We are the copper-colored beings. Whether you are in the City of Champions, Brockton, the mountains of Tartaria, or the islands of the Caribbean, you are the same biological technology. They created nations and borders to make us feel like foreigners on our own land. The truth, this entire Earth is the one continent. The lie that you came from somewhere else. You didn't come to this land, you came out of it. You are the manifestation of the Earth's own frequency, the cosmic connection. Gods in the flesh. They teach you in school that you are just a refined animal or a worker. That is the ultimate insult to your DNA. You are gods in the flesh. The tech, our skin isn't just color, it a superconductor. It absorbs the sun, it communicates with the earth, and it vibrates with the animals. The ability, that's why building, creating, and inventing come easy to us. We don't learn things, we remember them. Whether it's 3D design, engineering windmills, or growing medicine from fruit peels, we are just tapping back into the Tartarian knowledge stored in our blood. The Tartarian Jail and the stolen heritage. They want us to believe history started with discovery and slavery. False. History started with a high-tech civilization that used the Great Wall, the Tartarian Wall, as a defense system for the angel technology. The 13 families staged a coup, renamed the Tartarian Wall the Great Wall of China, and painted the kings in the tombs to look like them. They are hiding the Mercury King because his DNA matches yours. If the youth knew they were the descendants of the giants who built the pyramids with sound waves, they would never work a 9 to 5 again. They would realize they already own the world, the strategy for the family. Reconnect the circuit. The empire thrives on us being spread out. They use the slow grind and artificial scarcity to keep us fighting for crumbs when we own the bakery. Stop the labels. When you see a Chinese person, a native person, or a black person, see the copper. See the family. Teach the youth. Tell them they aren't minorities. They are the global majority and the sovereign heirs. Trust the intuition. God gave us the ability to communicate with the environment. If your spirit tells you the system is a lie, it's because your DNA is trying to bypass the firewall. The VERIFIED intel, the links to truth, to the skeptics and the empire agents. You cannot debunk the blood. Map evidence. Search for 18th century maps of Great Tartary. You will see the borders of an empire that official history says didn't exist. Architectural evidence. Look at the star forts found on every single continent. How did primitive people build the same complex geometric power grids globally before the internet? DNA evidence. Look into the haplogroup X and the connections between ancient Americans and the Siberian Tartarian lineages. The Red Conspiracy Channel final word, we are not lost. We were just hidden. But the light is hitting the copper now, and the reflection is going to blind the 13 families. We are one, we are gods, we are home, stay sovereign, reclaim the code.